Phil Staveley from the Leigh Creek Urea Project. Good to have you back with us on the Flow Network.
Great to be back.
Now, Phil, last time we spoke, there were still some approvals and the like to be secured by your project. I noticed that recent announcement to the Stock Exchange, you've secured Aboriginal heritage sign-off. Is that correct, in South Australia?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, and then we're looking sort of at this other project that the federal government's given major project status to in Western Australia. They're looking at producing 2 million tonnes. Now, first of all, you're looking at 1 million tonnes per annum at the moment as a scaled-up project in Leigh Creek?
Yeah, 1 million tonnes. It does have the potential to go to 2 when we're up and running, but initially at 1 million tonnes.
Okay. Now, this Western Australian project says they'll get up to around 2 million tonnes per annum. What does it mean if they've come into the market? Is that a challenge for your project in terms, or is it a welcome form of competition?
Oh, look, the market for urea is a world market, and the world market is 200 million tonnes. So whatever we get up in Australia is not going to make much difference. But there will be a certain amount of, I suppose, they would try to compete with us in Australia. They can't. That's the simple answer. I mean, we intend, at the current stage, to just sell our urea in bulk, cheapest in Australia. So we will settle on a number which may be something like $50. We're selling our urea $50 than anybody else. Come and get it if you want it.
Sorry, $50 less than anyone else, or at that price?
Less. None of that price.
I just thought I'd better check. So it's a sort of a Bunnings kind of situation. You want to make sure that farmers are going to get the most affordable urea out of Leigh Creek than anywhere else in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time as looking after the farmers, we've got to look after shareholders. So we just think, hey, it is exactly a Bunnings thing. You've got a different quote, well, with $50 cheaper.
We'll beat it by $50. So when it comes to your project,
everybody said, oh, but. You point to me. You know the farmers. You point to me one farmer that wouldn't take that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so your project's got, as I understand it, half of the million tonnes per annum will be going to Korea. There's a Korean financial backer involved in the project, so it's that other 500,000 tonnes that potentially could find its way into the Australian market?
Yeah, that's the intention at the moment, that it will find its way into the attention. It will be sold in Australia.
Oh, that definitely will be sold in Australia, that other half.
I don't know. Nothing's definite, right?
Yeah, and I understand from your stock exchange announcement, you're saying he's talking with a number of potential bidders, so it's not sort of 100% guaranteed it would all end up in the Australian market.
It's very likely.
Very likely, yep.
If you've got something in Australia and you want to sell it, why go through all the hassle of import, export controls and taking it overseas and shipping and blah, 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 when you can just stick it on the train, which is already there, stick it on the train and sell it in Australia. Yeah, that's logical.
Now, your project, just for listeners who've just tuned into this conversation, we've been having it over a number of months, but it's only likely to come on stream, 2024 possibly? Ultimately, the end of 2024 or early 2025. We're going through doing the bankable feasibility study at the moment, so that'll determine when it's coming online, and then we'll do our best to come online earlier. Now, this Western Australian project secured major project status from the federal government and received north of $200 million in contribution from the taxpayer to help their project. Your project has never sought any funding or support from the federal government?
We have been in discussions. Let's just get this straight, just ignoring the political spin. That is the North Australia Infrastructure Fund. They haven't provided direct support. What they've done is said they'll build a port somewhere up north, and the fertiliser project, along with everybody else, will have access to that port. So but they put a fertiliser spin on it. So that $250 million is going to be spent. It will be available to be used by anybody who's up there.
Yeah, so it's actually more so that spending commitment is more so a port construction than direct financial support for that project.
Yeah. But by implication, it's equivalent to having
direct support because there's a port there that you can use, so you don't have to build a port.
Well, that's like we know with the Cape Hardy project over on the Eyre Peninsula and the Iron Road mine that they want to build on the Eyre Peninsula. Having a port is a critical element of whether that actual mining project gets underway in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
All right, and so everything remains sort of on track with this project for those timelines and those possible thousands of jobs that might arise in Leigh Creek as a result of that?
Absolutely, thousands of jobs there. Well, there's a lot, especially in the construction stage. We found when we did the pre-commercial demonstration, we were really quite pleasantly surprised by the amount of quality services we could get from the Iron Triangle area, from Port Pirie, Whyalla, and Port Augusta. So there's all the services businesses, there's engineering businesses and so on there, and then there's jobs in Adelaide as well. So it's a whole of South Australia. It's very much centred on Leigh Creek and a couple of areas.
Yeah, so to be clear, because when we mentioned thousands of jobs around Leigh Creek, the local member Rowan Ramsey scoffed at that, and he thought that was a bit overblown. But the majority of those jobs would emerge in Leigh Creek.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to Rowan Ramsey. I don't know what he said, but it's our plan that I think it's 1,500 people that will work at Leigh Creek, and I'd like a lot of them to be residents of Leigh Creek.
Okay, well, Phil, look, thanks for making yourself available to chat about that one today. Much appreciated, and we're going to keep following this project with great interest.
Yeah, cheers, mate.